I need to get out of here. This is claustrophobic. Okay, so what was I doing in there? I was making a mark for this to go through. Okay, so I've got this little hole here, just slightly larger than that, so it should give me a little bit of wiggle room. Well, it's taken ever since I took this lock apart, which was I think like one of the very first things that I did on the van to get it taken apart. 2 parts here. These ones here were basically rusted so far together that I couldn't get them off, and a mechanic friend got them apart for me. So now I need to install it on the roll-up door there. This handle here came with the van. Now you can see that it's missing a lock. Basically that cylinder was broken and they no longer make that type, or the cylinder that works with this exact handle. So to replace it, I'd have to replace the whole handle, and that was looking to be over $100 with shipping. So instead I've bought this locking handle off of Amazon. Hopefully this works. Here's what the locking mechanism looks like once it's been reinstalled. Basically, I cut a block here to make a new spacer so that this hooks in the right position, and then reassembled all of the hardware. And that's the edge of that new handle there sticking out. So right now it's locked. Let's just unlock it with one of the keys here. And then you can unlock it. Now it can move. It's kind of hard to show like this, but basically this handle needed to move clockwise, and the handle was actually designed to move counterclockwise. So if you notice, it's actually in the unlocked position, like it's on its side. So normally the handle would sort of run this way, and that would be facing down. But by putting it on its side, I can basically put the handle into the lock position, and that will actually unlock my lock. That's maybe a little bit confusing, but let's shut the door and I'll show you what I mean. I'm pulling up on this here, hard as I can, nothing, because it's fully locked. If I take this out, I can't move the handle at all. If I unlock it, it will go into that position there, which is just enough to get that hook out from under this hole. There's something that I realized may be a problem. This is sticking down, so I want to check to see if the Dutch door will still open. Alright, pointing up here, let's take a look. Yep, it'll just make it underneath there. That's good. I'm so glad to finally have this in place. It's actually a little bit crooked. I just noticed that in the viewfinder here. But this is just going to mean that I can actually latch the door, so when I'm driving, it's not going to fly out, because the tension on it would do that, basically, if I didn't have the latch. And yeah, this isn't the most secure lock in the world. I'm not overly concerned about that. Just having that there is going to deter most thieves. And if someone's like a professional car thief, if they're actually wanting to get into like a cargo van, because that is what this looks like. It looks like a cargo van. They're going to be able to get in. This is just a wooden door. If nothing else, you can cut a hole in it with a saw, right? So yeah, sure, this isn't the like I said, like it's not the most secure thing, but if they do get through it, there's a whole other set of doors that they have to get through here. And sure, that's just a padlock keeping this one closed, but it's just an added level of security. So it would be probably easier to go in through one of the actual car doors. The latch is what I wanted out of this, and I'm very glad that I've installed it. I've added this light here onto the back right by the propane. It's the same one that I have inside. Basically, I bought one and it never showed up, so I sent another one, and then this one finally did show up. So I can turn it on, and you can see that the light turns on and off. And so this is basically if I need to anything accessed on this porch or in that side of the garage area, because I can, turn it around like that, then that's just a useful thing to have. You'll pardon my holding on to the chimney, but that's the only way that I can get this shot. I've bought a cap here, and let me see if I can get up here a little bit. This is it. I was originally going to cobble together something, but this has like the spark arrestor and everything that I need, and it's 5 inches. This chimney here is a 5-inch pipe for some reason. Most chimneys are 6. So I'll be able to add that on top. Now what's keeping this on the roof right now is just this stuff here, but it leaks, so I'm going to remove it and replace it with some better sealant. Okay, you can see that I've scraped away the sealant that was here before, and it's all right there. This was not high heat sealant, so it pulled away from the edges and thus this leaked when it rained. So I'm going to be replacing it with a high heat sealant. The chimney pipe itself is double walled. This is the top of a 4-inch pipe that goes inside of the 5-inch pipe. And it just rattles around loose. There's nothing separating it from the 5-inch pipe. So I've screwed using self-tapping screws, like so, these 4 bits of aluminum flashing onto it. So these will bend over and sort of keep that held in place inside of the pipe. So here's that piece reattached to the 4-inch pipe, and you can see how rusty this is. This is why you properly seal things. Okay, so I've just cut off the top portion of the chimney here, both to make it a little bit shorter and also to get rid of that uneven cut. And so now I should be able to try and reassemble this thing. Maybe you can see into here, maybe you can't, but here the aluminum pieces are actually keeping this pipe nice and away from the walls, which is what I want, and hopefully that'll stop maybe some rattling and just some extra wear and tear on the chimney. Okay, so this here is the rain cap and guard, and it's actually 2 pieces. This part is a connector which connects the 5-inch stovepipe to the rain cap. Now it is really tough to get off with friction, but because this is on the roof at highway speeds and all that, I'm not going to trust it to keep these 2 pieces together. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take some self-drilling screws and screw straight in so that this is 1 piece. Okay, so there we go. There are 3 screws keeping these 2 pieces together. That should be plenty. Okay, so this is up and in place, and I needed to hammer it in with a mallet, so it's not going anywhere. But just in case, I'm going to be putting in one of these little screws anyway. This is just an added safety precaution. There's no way this is coming off as is, but I can remove this when I want to take it very easily. There'll just be one in here. Like this thing is, literally, it's nailed in place. So this is going to go in, and then this should be finished. Okay, so there's our 1 screw put in place. This isn't going anywhere, so I can seal it in place. I didn't read this carefully enough. I bought the wrong product. This is stove and gasket cement. This isn't a caulk, so this is for sealing joints. Wrong item. So I've climbed up on the roof here. This is what it looks like finished, but I still need to seal down here. So this morning I went down and I got the right type of silicone here. This is a sealant, not a cement. So I'm going to put a generous bead of it around the edge here. A red ring of silicone is now sealing this off. I'm going to let this cure. The instructions say that it's dry to touch in 30 minutes and fully cured in 24 hours. I'm also thinking that once I drive this around a little bit, this seal may become a little bit loose in places, so it'll be a good idea to come back up here in a month or so and add some silicone onto this. One more note about this seal here. I would like to get one of those rubber gaskets that is sort of adjustable, the silicone ones that are meant for high heat. Only no one in my town can source them, and if I buy them online, they're very, very expensive, so that might be an upgrade in the future. While I'm working on the roof, I figured now would be a good time to actually silicone around the things which I've added to the roof. This is what brings the solar cables down into the fan, and it never got a proper seal around it, nor the fan, nor the actual solar panel itself. It was snowing at the time, but now it's not, so it's good in time that this got fixed. Taking out the screws here, and these are where the holes are. I'm just putting a big dab of silicone down there. So I've just left a really big thing of silicone on these screws here. The reason for that is because they're kind of loose. They're the ones that aren't actually going into anything other than the thin bit of aluminum. So hopefully that'll help just keep them in place. I've sealed around the edges of the Fantastic fan and then put silicone over each of these screws going into the roof here. So this should now be fully sealed. And that's going to be all for today's video. I got a lot of things ready for the practicalities of use, you know. stopping leaks and making sure that my door won't fly open when I'm driving down the road, and my propane tank will then go flying out or something like that. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.